He's not showing up.
She'll
Jane is
be on
not?
Zoom.
Okay.
She's not? Oh, okay.
I think she's
Because the
got some
last time
family
I
stuff.
talked to her the other
See,
day, and I said, you can sit in on Zoom.
Yeah, she said she's not feeling it, so she wasn't going.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'll call a meeting of the Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission to order for PZ special public hearing meeting, annual update review of zoning regulations, October 20th.
And just Gloria, for the record, online, the commissioners attending are Brian Santos, Joe Perotti Brown, Pies 4. Roll call other than that.
Oh.
Rin.
Sure.
So,
Roll call, start with you, John.
oh, John B. Linky.
Dave McCloskey,
Mike,
Mike Vogel,
Ray Williams.
Alvin Hill,
Charlie Langlois.
Randy Blackmer,
You've got a seat.
and Brian Santos for John Rice, and Cody Zor for Jane Salsey. Is that? Sorry? Kai Zor for Jane Salsey.
Hey, Sean Brissett, mute yourself now,
So,
please. Thank you.
Okay, this is a review of the updates for the zoning regulations for as of tonight, and we'll do this like we do a regular meeting. If you want to speak, I ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes so that we can get out of here at a reasonable hour. We'll start out with Sarah reading into the minutes, the hearing that was held, or the informational meeting that was held a week ago tonight, and then there's 3 emails that she'll read into the minutes.
okay, so the chair has asked me to start with the summary of the informal Q&A that we had 1 week ago this evening. So to be clear, this is a summary. It is not a word-for-word transcription. Anybody interested in hearing the full content, the Zoom link and the YouTube link are posted on the Planning and Zoning page online. 16th October 2022, synopsis of informal Q&A regarding proposed 2022 amendments to zoning regulations. Please note, this is not a word-for-word transcription. Questions and responses are condensed and summarized for clarity. For the full content of the proceedings, please refer to the recording of the presentation. 5 members of the public attended in person in the Sine room. There were 10 members of the public in the Zoom room. 1, a gentleman had a question regarding land classifications regarding PA 490 open space. The gentleman was advised that the topic was not one being addressed in the evening's presentation, and he was referred to the assessor's office. 2, Valerie Clark asked, at what point did or will the public have an opportunity to speak with the Planning and Zoning Commission and have regulation proposals changed? Answer. The means by which the public makes comment directly to the commission is the public hearing, which is scheduled for Thursday, 20th of October. At the public hearing, the commission is required to listen to the comments from the public prior to making decisions. There is no direct opportunity for the public to amend as in the town meeting, but they may make suggestions to the commission in the public hearing format. The ZEO adds that there is a process described in the zoning regulations by which the public may submit amendments to the commission for consideration. That section is found starting on page 8 of the current edition of the regulations. The commission is still the voting body on such an application, and they may vote to approve or deny any such application following a public hearing process. Such a petition or application may be submitted to the commission at any time. 3, Valerie Clark asks a follow-up question relative to the amendments being considered at this public hearing. May the commission further amend the proposed language? Answer: the commission may amend the proposed language during their discussion after the close of the public hearing, but the language of the amendment requested must be the actual language voted on, not a general request to make an amendment after the vote to adopt. 4, Dickie Birch wants to know what the differences are between a large cow and a small cow in relation to the categories of livestock described in the proposed amendments to Article 4, Section 4, General Provisions, as of right, poultry, and livestock. Answer: the categories of livestock describe the division between livestock non-swine small and livestock non-swine large. Small livestock are species or breeds with an average mature weight between 30 to 500 pounds, while large livestock are those with an average mature weight greater than 500 pounds. Mr. Birch does not find the answer satisfactory. There is further discussion to try to clarify what the suggested levels mean. There is additional discussion to clarify for Mr. Birch the difference between the as of right designation and the level of activity at which an applicant would have to seek a permit for additional numbers of livestock. 5, Dickie Birch further asks why the public are not addressing the commission directly during the Q&A. Answer: there is no proper legal way for the commission to engage in such an informal Q&A outside the format of the public hearing. Staff is offering the opportunity to the public as an extra informative task. 6, Valerie Clark suggests that the remaining time be used to read through the text of the proposed amendments in order and provide some of the context to the changes. Tara Penn reads through the more substantive topics as requested with attention given to the following. 1, Article 2, Section 3, Application of Regulations. The difference between the permissive versus prohibitive models of regulatory language is described. The safety valve language is also described as an added level of flexibility that Thompson has included. 2, Article 4, Section 4, General Provisions for all districts. Number 5, as of right, poultry and livestock. The full text of the amended section is read along with some historical context on how the as of right language for household domestic fowl has evolved to the more permissive language being suggested in the proposed amendments. Emphasis is given to the reason why the lot sizes suggested in the table were chosen versus the specific suggestions made by Valerie Clark as a member of the Agriculture Commission. 3, Article 4A, Rural Residential Agricultural District, RRAD. The reasoning behind reducing the level of review and the setback dimensions for livestock agriculture is described, i.e., Thompson is a farm-friendly community, therefore additional requirements should not be imposed on farming in the RRAD. The purpose of reintroducing the concept of net buildable area throughout the document is also described. 4, the purpose of changing agricultural ancillary entertainment-based or farm-based recreational activities to businesses is explained. 5, Article 4A, Section 4, Agriculture, D, Livestock. The additions and deletions from this section are read and described. It is clarified that the language around home slaughter or butchering has been made more permissive than in the past. The reason for substituting the word structure for construction in the various tables of uses is described. 7, additional context is provided for the suggested adjustment of the minimum lot size in the Lake District to 15,000 square feet with a net buildable area of the same. 8, Article 5A, Section 3, earth and gravel removal. C, standards for earth removal. The adjustments making the language mandatory, shall, rather than may, is further explained by the ZEO. 9, Article 7, definitions. The addition of box trailer and net buildable area is covered, as well as the adjustments to the definition of driveway and rest home. And finally, 10, The removal of Appendix E tables of uses is also briefly discussed. So that was the memo that I prepared for the commission
After the
that came
October
out of
13th meeting.
the October 13th. Additionally, I have 3 email comments that have been received during the open comment period. And I did check when I got here around 6, there were none received today between the time I left the office and the time I got here. Bear with me, folks. Reading them in the order that I received them. On September the 25th at 1:42 p.m., I received from Dick Trudeau. Good day. I take exception to and strongly request removal of the Article 2, Section 3, application of regulations, except the statement, these regulations are intended to state the uses or the establishment of uses of land and or buildings and structures that are permitted with the town. This, if not regulated, such uses prohibited approach is an unprecedented and major overreach of regulations. If the zoning commission wishes to regulate a use, then it should include the use with regulations. I can find no statement or discussion in CGS Chapter 124, which addresses this approach to zoning regulations. Thank you, Adrian R. Dick Trudeau, North Riverdale. The second email comment received came to me on October 10th from Janet Blanchette of JD Civil Engineers. Good morning. My comment is that you should remove Article 4A, Section 4D5E, which states animal confinement areas shall not be located directly over land containing an on-site subsurface sewage disposal system. This sentence is not necessary. Subsurface sewage disposal systems are under the jurisdiction of the state and local health department. They do allow leach fields under paddocks and pastures, provided that the systems have enough cover and are structurally sound. I have personally designed a few using concrete galleries, which are strong enough to withstand vehicular traffic, so they can also withstand the weight of livestock. The state and NDDH would not approve a system under an animal shelter or any other building, so Thompson's zoning doesn't need to address this. Janet J. Blanchette, PE of JD Civil Engineers, LLC, Ravenel Road, North Riverdale. And then finally, from 19th October, we have an extensive memo from Wetlands Agent Marla Butts, which I will read in full. Memo to Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission from Marla Butts, Wetlands Agent, regarding comments on proposed zoning regulation amendments, update 2022 for inclusion on October 20th, 2022, PZC Public Hearing. At my request, the Planning and Zoning Commission, PZC, has proposed amendments to the zoning regulations for the reinstatement of a net buildable area required for those zoning districts that contain areas of wetlands, watercourses, floodplains, and or conservation easements, regardless of the existence of public sewer and public water supply. The purpose of including a net buildable area is threefold. First, it is to promote environmentally sound development, ensuring there is sufficient land for minimal developmental purposes without causing environmental problems related to the incremental loss of wetlands and flood storage capacity, as well as conserving other environmental functions. Secondly, the inclusion of a net buildable area is very important as the zoning regulations set the standards for lot dimensions used in the subdivision regulations. It is in the best interest of the town and its citizens to have environmentally sound development that minimizes the potential for either future or off-site damage. Third, the purpose is to guide the expectations of the regulated community in the use and modification of environmentally important areas, especially in light of anticipated climate changes involving rainfall events. A definition for net buildable area is proposed to read: a contiguous area of land that is at least 50 feet wide, not containing wetlands, watercourses, conservation easements, or areas waterward of the 100-year flood boundary as delineated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. A net buildable area requirement was contained in the zoning regulations up to and until the 8th edition of the zoning regulations dated September 15, 2020, at which time it was removed. I participated in the review of the revisions for the 8th edition and did not notice the removal of the net buildable area requirement until I started working on reviewing proposed revisions to the current subdivision regulations. Prior to its removal in 2020, a net buildable area was defined as follows. The total contiguous lot area excluding the following. 1, areas of slopes in excess of 25%. 2, areas defined as inland wetlands or watercourses by the Thompson Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Regulations, including 50% of established upland review area. 3, ledge outcrops. 4, special flood hazard areas and floodways. 5, areas encumbered by easements. The difference between the former and the proposed definition of a net buildable area is the removal of slopes steeper than 20% grade and ledge outcrops, as well as specifically limiting easements to conservation easements. While steep slopes and ledge outcrops can create developmental challenges, they are not insurmountable with careful engineering. They do not necessarily cause lasting adverse effects like those caused by the destruction of wetlands and the loss of floodplain storage. Finally, encumbrances by easements were reduced to conservation easement, as there are many types of easements that do not relate to environmental conditions and do not need to be the basis for land use regulation. In April 2022, I reviewed the current zoning district map, copy attached, in relation to mapped municipal sewer lines, copy attached, the public water supply service area, a map provided to me by Connecticut Water Company, copy attached, existing land parcels, wetlands and water courses as identified on MapGeo, the town's online GIS mapping, FEMA floodplains and floodways as identified in the current FEMA mapping found in the building office. This was done to identify where a net buildable area requirement, if any, should be recommended in Thompson. Based on that review, I informed the PZC. I concluded that the reestablishment of the net buildable area in some zoning districts was warranted for at least new subdivision lots and made the following recommendations to the PZC. Rural Residential Agricultural District, RRAD, Article 4A. A minimum of 15,000 square feet, 0.34 acres, net buildable area for new subdivision lots was recommended for this district. This is because there are many areas of wetlands and watercourses and flood hazard areas scattered throughout the district. The current minimum lot size is 40,000 square feet, 0.91 acres without limitation. Note that this district is not currently supported by public sewer and water. The proposed zoning amendment language corresponds to this request. Common Residential District, CRD, Article 4B. No net buildable area is needed due to the current level of development and minimal wetland watercourse floodplain involvement in this district. This district is supported by public sewer and water, except for a small portion along Plum Road. Current minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet, 0.1 acres. The proposed zoning amendment language corresponds to this request. Thompson Common Village District, TCVD, Article 4C. No net buildable area is needed due to the current level of development and or minimal wetland watercourse floodplain involvement. The current minimum lot size is 40,000 square feet. The proposed zoning amendment language corresponds to this request. Business Development District, BDD, Article 4D. I recommended a minimum of 15,000 square feet net buildable area for new subdivision lots for this district, regardless of the availability of public sewer and water. This is because several areas of this district contain significant areas of either flood hazard or wetlands. The current minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet with public sewer and water and 40,000 square feet without public sewer and water. In deference to my recommendation, the proposed zoning amendment would include a 4,500 square foot minimum where property is served by public water and sewer. However, no portion of the business development district is currently supported by both public sewer and water, and use of the smaller lot size would require proof of public sewer and water service. To fully accommodate my request, the minimum lot size would have to be increased from 4,500 square feet to 15,000 square feet. The PZC subcommittee has not chosen to do so. Thompson Corridor Development District, TCDD, Article 4E. A minimum of 15,000 square feet net buildable area for new subdivision lots was recommended for this district regardless of the availability of public sewer and water. This is because several areas of this district contain significant areas of wetlands associated with tributaries to the French River. Note that this district is not currently supported by public sewer and water. The current minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet with public sewer and water, and 40,000 square feet without public sewer and water. To fully accommodate my request, the minimum lot size would have to be increased from 4,500 square feet to 15,000 square feet. The PZC subcommittee has not chosen to do so. Downtown Mill Rehabilitation District, DMRD, Article 4F. A minimum of 15,000 square feet net buildable area for new subdivision lots was recommended for this district regardless of the availability of public sewer and water. This is because several areas of this district contain significant flood hazard areas associated with the French River and wetlands associated with tributaries to the French River. The current minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet without limitation. Note, while public sewer and water is utilized in this district, the availability of public sewer and water for the entire district has not been verified. To fully accommodate my request, the minimum lot size would have to be increased from 4,500 square feet to 15,000 square feet. The PZC subcommittee has not chosen to do so. Lake District, LD, Article 4G. Minimum of 15,000 square feet net buildable area was recommended for new subdivision lots, the construction of new homes, and any expansion of structures on lots that cannot currently meet state health code requirements without waiver from the Connecticut Department of Public Health. The Lake District covers the land around Little Pond, also known as Schoolhouse Pond, and Aquatic Reservoir for variable distances intended to include the existing lake communities. These water bodies are sensitive to the import of nutrients. There have been cases where the repair or replacement of septic systems for existing homes necessitated waivers from state health code requirements. This indicates that some overdevelopment has already occurred around Little Pond. The Lake District around Little Pond has wetlands of concern and a net buildable area is appropriate. Aquatic Reservoir has a FEMA floodplain, but its extent is marginal around most of the water body. Significant expanses of wetlands and floodplains are located in the northern portion of the Aquatic Reservoir Lake District, but for the most part is owned by the state of Connecticut and not subject to development. However, Aquatic Reservoir has experienced eutrophication resulting in extensive aquatic weed beds and warrants a net buildable area. The current minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet, providing the Northeast District Department of Health standards for septic and water are met. The proposed zoning amendment language corresponds to this request and includes changing the minimum lot size from 4,500 square feet to 15,000 square feet. In summary, a net buildable area for all zoning districts that contained wetlands, water courses, or FEMA delineated floodplains of sufficient size to warrant a net buildable area. No net buildable area has been requested for the Common Residential District and the Thompson Common Village District. For the most part, the proposed zoning regulation amendments have followed these recommendations. However, missing from the zoning regulations is a definition for wetlands, water courses, and conservation easement. Since these terms have different definitions depending on which state you are in and where in Connecticut you are, e.g. tidal wetlands versus inland wetlands, the following definitions are requested to be included in this iteration of the amendments to the zoning regulations. Wetlands shall be as defined in Chapter 440, Section 22A-38 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Water courses shall be as defined in Chapter 440, Section 22A-38 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Conservation easement a voluntary legal agreement that permanently limits uses of the land to protect its conservation values as identified in the document entitled Conservation and Open Space Plan, Thompson, Connecticut, dated December 2005, prepared by the Thompson Conservation Commission, as may be amended. Other comments in relation to the language found in the current zoning regulations amended to February 28th, 2022, and the proposed amendments. 1. Proposed Article 2, Section 9 amendment, subsection C, potential Scribner's error, proposed change for inclusion of CGS should reference subsection B, not C. 2. Proposed Article 2, Section 9 amendment, subsection C, paragraph 2. Paragraph appears to be incomplete and is missing the following text found in the zoning regulations amended to 2/28/22. Referrals to the Northeast Connecticut Council of Governments, NECOG, or adjacent municipalities may be required. Is the missing language proposed to be removed, or are ellipsis points, i.e. ... after the text missing in error? 3. Proposed Article 2, Section 10, non-conforming buildings, uses, lots, 5A. There is no subsection 5, paragraph A in the zoning regulations. There is a subsection A, paragraph 5. Is this a Scribner's error? 4. Proposed Article 4, Section 4, general provisions for all districts, paragraph 5. While struck out text is in black and not in red, it is presumed that the black struck out text is to be replaced with the red text. 5. Proposed Article 4, Section 4, general provisions for all districts, paragraph 5, subparagraph B. Structurally, it is unclear why a colon is placed at the end of the paragraph, as no list follows. Additionally, given the previously stated concerns for nutrient loading to Aquatic Reservoir and Little Pond and the small lot size, 15,000 square feet or 0.34 acres in the Lake District, it is recommended that the following language in red bold be added and deletions in red struck out be made to the proposed language in red. 8. Where the keeping of more than the as of right number of poultry or livestock is proposed, whether for an agricultural business or for more intensive homestead farming, the applicant shall be subject to the provisions described in Article 4A, Section 4D livestock. For as of right levels of poultry and livestock, the recommendation is to strike the words "the following" and add the words "see subparagraph C below for conditions and limitations that apply, except that in the Lake District, LD, the keeping of livestock non-swine small, livestock non-swine large, and livestock swine is prohibited on any basis except as a pre-existing non-conforming use." To avoid confusion, it is also recommended that Article 4G Lake District, LD, Section 1, intent of the current zoning regulations be amended to include the following language in red. The intent of the Lake District, LD, is to allow for the safe and reasonable use of properties in the areas surrounding Little Pond and Aquatic Lake. These regulations recognize the historic challenges to property owners in this area where parcels were created prior to the adoption of zoning, leading to a high incidence of nonconformity for existing lots. Due to the sensitive nature of lakefront properties, uses in this district are more restricted than in other districts. The suggested added text is see Article 4, Section 4, paragraph 5B for limited livestock prohibition. Thank you for your time and consideration. Attachments as stated. That is the full extent of the email comments received.
Any comments from public?
We do have 2 signed up, so since we have sign-ups, let's go to the room first, and then if anybody in the Zoom room wants to speak, put your hand up. I can see in order who it is. First on the list is Bill Warner, Lowell Davis Road. Just come to the microphone and state that again, actually.
Bill Warner, Lowell Davis Road. I'll try to be less than 3 minutes, Randy, but I don't think I'll be able to. Please pay attention. There may be a quiz later tonight. First, under Article 2, Section 9, your amendment, Section 4B, it states for public hearings, legal notices shall be published. There has not been a legal notice published for this public hearing. Even though your agenda says that two public notices were published in the Thompson Villager, they were not published. Just to let you know, so when I put an ad out in a few months, you don't say I'm lying again. In Article 2, Section 3, application of regulations, you changed Section D to A and added a new Section B, but you did not delete the old sections A through C. If so, if you did, why aren't they shown striking out? In Article 2, Section 9 amendments, you changed Section B to C. Does that mean you added a new Section B? If so, what is it? And what happens to the old section C through F? In Article 4, Section 4, general provisions for all districts, under item 5, the as of right poultry and livestock. The Agriculture Commission made suggestions, and I know I was at their meeting when they made suggestions that they were going to suggest so many animals per acre for land over a couple of acres. But they were ignored. They weren't even published. Why didn't you make those suggestions public so the public would know what the Agriculture Commission suggested to you? And then how did you arrive at the maximum of 6 swine? If you have 2 swine and they have piglets, what do you do with the extra piglets? They usually have 10 to 14. So either you need to increase the number of swine, or piglets should be exempt for the first year of their life. Either that, or we're going to have Governor Lamont allow abortion of piglets. Article 4, common residential district. It says the minimum lot size will be 4,500 square feet, and there's no net buildable lot size. The suggested minimum lot size in Thompson should be no less than 15,000 square feet anywhere in town. That's what it was before 2020 when these regulations were changed in 2020. There shouldn't be any place in town where it's less than 15,000 square feet. If there's a hardship, a landowner could always appeal. But with all the land we have in town, we shouldn't be encouraging lots that small. In Article 4C, the Common Village District. It has 40,000 square feet as the lot size, but it says there's no net buildable area requirement in that district. Yet there are wetlands on the hill, and you could create a lot that you wouldn't be able to build on at 40,000 square feet that didn't have 15,000 square feet, but we're not putting a minimum lot there, net buildable, where we are in other parts of town. In Article 4D, Business Development District. The lot size there is, minimum lot size is 4,500 square feet, and the suggested minimum lot size, again, shouldn't be anywhere under 15,000 square feet anywhere in town. In lot area of Section 4 for property served by public water and sewer, the net buildable area shall not be less than 4,500 square feet. But there you need a net buildable area, but not in the common residential or the common village district. It should be net buildable anywhere in town, whether you're on sewer or not. And the comments for the business development district apply also to the Thompson Corridor Development District. It also applies to the Downtown Mill Rehabilitation District. And in the Lake District, under Article 4G, The general development standards there, the minimal lot and net buildable area is 15,000 square feet. Again, this should be the standard for the entire town. We are not a rural community. We're not the inner city. There's no need for postage stamp lots. Before I moved to Thompson, my house up in Lynn, which is a city, I had 4,500 square feet. And it was ridiculously small, and the houses next door were right upon each other. You could reach out and touch the other house. There's no need for that in Thompson. We have plenty of land. And Article 5A, Section 3, earth and gravel removal. Please add a comma after the word welfare in Section 11 to make the statement clearer. It would then read, in granting a special permit for earth removal to safeguard the public health, safety, and general welfare, the following shall be required. Without the comma, it does not make sense. I thank the commission for revisiting the changes you made to the regulations in 2020. I ask you to consider the points that I raised here tonight. This doesn't address all of the issues the citizens had with the 2020 regulation changes, but it's a good step towards addressing them. Thank you.
Yes,
I just checked the villager and there is no new notices. on it. So I don't know if Rich is on there. I don't know.
yeah, he is, was.
Yeah, he's there. Rich, did you hear that?
There are no legal notices posted for this public hearing.
Were they in the Shopper's Guide? Don't we usually post in the Shopper's Guide?
No, you post them in the villager. You post them in the Shopper's Guide?
The only thing in the Shopper's Guide was mine.
I don't know if you can continue the public hearing, but if your attorney's here. he can-
Rich? Are
Yeah.
you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think you're muted, Rich.
I'm sorry, folks. We're doing some tech stuff. Just bear with us for a minute. All set? Are you saying,
Hello,
Rich?
hello,
Yeah, can you hear us?
yes.
Okay, so Cindy, you want to repeat your question?
Yes, Mr. Warner brought up the issue that the notices for the public hearing for tonight was not posted in the Villager, which is a newspaper. We generally post our public legal notices. And while he was talking, I looked on to online to the Villager, and either last Friday or October 7th, there were no public notices for this public hearing, legal notices. So can we continue to have this public hearing without the notice of a legal notice?
You probably shouldn't, but the alternative would be to continue it to some point in time in the future after you can.
Can probably continue it to some.
Hold on, give us another second, Rich. We're having audio trouble. Okay, start talking again, Rich. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the alternatives are to, just basically shut it down now and start over again after it's properly noticed, or you can continue to hear people tonight, keep the public hearing open until some point after the proper notices have been published, and then make sure that everything that was put into the record tonight, you don't necessarily have to read them all again verbatim, but, carry forward all those things and, not take any action until after a properly noticed public hearing has been held.
Okay, so let me just be sure I understand exactly what you just said. We may continue to hear comments tonight, but we cannot close the public hearing and move to commission discussion and action until we have submitted a notice to the villager with an appropriately spaced out date, correct?
Right, and, I'm not gonna tell you that that's, 100% safe if anybody challenged it. Certainly the safest thing to do is to, just allow people to continue speaking, but not continue, not continue until such time as it's been properly noticed.
So how would we indicate that in the record? Because we don't have a date for the continuance.
Well, you would have to pick a date that would be sufficiently far out that you could get the 2 required legal notices in.
Okay, so we should establish those dates tonight.
Monday.
Monday.
I don't think that's
This
not enough
is
time for
not a
notice.
formal meeting. We can't set a
Believe
date.
me, I would love it if we could do it Monday. That would make
No,
everybody.
we
No,
have-
Monday,
No.
Monday, we set the date and
Oh, I see what you're saying.
on Monday
This
night.
is not, this is a special meeting, so you can only do it on a regular meeting to set the dates.
Does that sound correct, Rich? If we set the date for the continuation of the public hearing at the regular meeting on Monday?
Well, you can continue the public hearing tonight to the regular meeting on Monday. You don't have to, even if you had published notice of tonight, you wouldn't have to publish notice of that. And at that time, you can continue it to, sometime in November, after which you've had the two legal notices.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, I have one more person who wants to make comment on the list here, and then we haven't yet addressed the Zoom room. What do you have, Rick?
I was just gonna make a motion that we shut this down tonight. We work on it we set a date on Monday, have our 2 weeks of advertisement.
Legal notice.
Yep, I think that's what we're better off to do
I
myself.
second that. Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second,
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to come.
we're gonna continue this, not close it. Is that correct, Rich?
Yeah, continue the public hearing to your Monday meeting.
All right, we'll continue the public hearing to Monday's meeting to establish dates so that we can continue the public hearing at a legally posted time. Cindy?
She did send the notice to the villager. I just want to let everybody know that that notice was sent to the villager by our secretary. She just showed me. on her computer.
So, all right, so that was a drop on the,
On the villager, it's
Okay.
not our job.
all right, well, that's important to know.
This is Rich. Did the referrals to NECOG get made?
I have no idea off the top of my head, Rich. We have to go check that at the office.
Yeah, because I mean,
The
if that
referrals to
wasn't done,
NECOG?
then you have to do that too.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
All right,
Checking it out.
did you have something else? All right,
John.
John Malinky, second motion. So we're gonna just continue this, and Monday night will be just to establish the dates with the legal time frame in it. Is that correct? That's, all right. So the motion is to continue. Go ahead, Mike.
Continue what on Monday?
No,
Nothing. On Monday, we have to set the date.
That's right, but I think we have to do that, do we have to do that at just a regular meeting, or can it be have to be a continuation of the public hearing?
No, it would have to be all we said at the meeting, my understanding.
We'll have to establish the public hearing after we've established the dates that are legal. Do we do that just at the meeting, or do we have to have that as part of the public hearing?
Well, Cindy and I will have to figure it out during the day in the office.
Okay.
What the correct dates are.
If you set a date Monday, then she can get the notice in by noon on Tuesday for the villager, right?
Go ahead,
The
Ray.
deadline is noon Tuesday. I think I get confused between the villager and Chuck
So
Scott.
to simplify things, we're just gonna close the meeting tonight,
Continue.
continue the meeting tonight,
Language
Till-
matters in this case.
to a later date, which we will establish the date Monday night.
Okay, but we will have to, before, so we're not stumbling on ourselves, we gotta do something with our agenda, or we gotta amend the agenda on Monday, or we gotta add this to the agenda and send out a new agenda, just, FY,
Oh, you can
not that
change-
you guys don't know
You
that.
can
anyway.
change the agenda on that night.
Right, that's what I said,
Agenda.
we'll either have to do that or amend it, and then resend it out,
She has
one
time
or
to
the
amend
other.
the agenda. It has to be posted by noon tomorrow, town clerk's office and she has time to amend the
I don't think we should continue.
The
this.
note for
We can-
Monday night.
We
agenda. For
could,
Monday night, yeah.
and even if she doesn't, we can vote to add that to the agenda. It's a regular meeting, so we can add anything we want to the
You
agenda.
absolutely can, correct.
I just wanted to make that
Yeah.
a point out,
So what, for the sake of the minutes, so I can report it correctly, what are we actually doing?
We're continuing the public hearing to a later date to be established that will be legal date. I mean, the legal notices will be published, so it'll be a legal.
No, you're continuing it to Monday, at which point you will continue it again to the later date.
Okay, we're continuing the public hearing to Monday, at which time we will continue it to a later date so that we can meet the time frame. Is that right, Rich?
Yes,
Thank you.
But he did say, like, somebody else wanted to talk tonight, did they still want to talk? Is that
Ken.
your ideas?
Shut it.
No, what the motion was to start all over.
But the lawyer said we could continue, but it is going to be a continue.
He said it was our prerogative which way we wanted to do it. And the motion was
So are we
made,
stopping now?
the most,
Hold on one second, guys. Just before this becomes another one of the back and forth, back and forth. There is only one other person who is signed up live in the room, and it may be inconvenient for that person to return. So I would suggest that for that person, we give her the option. Did you want to make a public comment?
Yes.
Okay. Before you do that, if you want to permit her to do that, you have to rescind the motion to continue until after she makes her
that
comment.
wasn't voted on, though. It was made and seconded, so we need to
I
vote.
think you made, I'm sorry, my
It's
first
more of
opinion.
a, mine is more of a question, okay? All this that you just said to me doesn't mean much.
Okay.
I came because it said, come and find out about the laws, I haven't checked.
Okay. You and I then, because I'm a staff member, you can talk to me at any time during office hours or whatever, and I'll talk to you after we close.
All right, so we'll continue with the, we have a motion and a second to continue the public hearing till Monday night. That's all we need to have in the motion for now. We'll have a roll call vote. Mike?
Mike Vogel, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Charlene Langley's yes.
Dave Plowski, yes.
John P. Lanky, yes.
Randy Blackmer, yes. Kaiser,
Yes, Kaiser, yes, sorry.
Joe? Joe is in and out.
Brody Brown, yes.
Thank you. You fooled me.
And Brian.
And Brian Santos?
No, he's coming.
You hear me? Brian Santos, yes. Sorry. about
Okay. All right, do we have unanimous vote to continue this Monday night?
Okay.
The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Sorry for the,
Yes, I saw.
sorry for the inconvenience.